Formula 1 is the top of all automotive motorsport championships, so there is an understandable level of popularity around it. This category was created in 1947 after World War II as the Grand Prix racing with engine volume limitations. These units work on a short stroke basics, meaning that they have a very small stroke length compared to the bore width, allowing to chase power at high revs. It is called an O-squared design, although the very first models were not such of a design. Anyway, this is the evolution of the Formula 1 engine. 1947 to 1953. The series was launched with a regulation allowing for up to 4.5-liter naturally aspirated or supercharged 1.5 liters. They were capable of 425-ish horsepower, while there was also the BRM Type 15 with the V16 producing over 600 horsepower. – 1954 to 1960. Since 1954, the maximum engine volume dropped to almost a half, with 2.5-liter naturally aspirated or 750cc supercharged. Although no supercharged units were made, the NA ones got up to 290 horsepower at 8,500 RPM in case of the V8-powered Mercedes W196 in 1955. Ferrari was using an inline 4 and Maserati had a straight 6. 1961 to 1965, the forced induction was banned for next 4 seasons, and only 1300 to 1500cc displacements were allowed to enter. Between 1963 and 1965, they were even set to use pump gas only. Every team switched from front to mid-engine layout. Also, before it happened, the Ferguson P99 was the first 4-wheel drive and the last winning front-engine vehicle in Formula 1. It was propelled by a Coventry Climax FPF engine. Following years, there was still no cylinder number nor RPM limiting regulation introduced. The forced induction was permitted back again at 1500cc engines with up to 3-liter naturally aspirated counterparts. This era is famous for the Cosworth DFV launch and extremely easy accessibility to an F1 engine, the DFV, for basically any homemade chassis. The Cosworth engine popularity dominated the grid with 400 horsepower at its beginning, ending up at 530 horsepower at 11,000 RPM. However, it was slowly outrun by new forced induction engines being used since 1980s as the turbo technology advanced and smaller motors were easy to turbocharge. Until 1980, basically it was even possible to race with a 2-stroke oil burner as well. By the way, in 1971, Renault experimented with a Pratt & Whitney turbine engine and 4-wheel drive. – 1986. The 1986 season may be the most legendary, as naturally aspirated engines were banned as for the only F1 season during its existence since 1947. Alfa Romeo had a V8. Tech Porsche, Honda, Renault and Ford Cosworth created twin turbocharged V6s, and BMW used a M10 production engine block as the base for the M12/13 super powerful F1 power plant. Possibly the best thing about this season was an unrestricted turbo boost pressure what allowed Benetton cars with the BMW engine to produce over 1300 horsepower during qualifications at 5.5 bar of boost. Their reliability was low, reaching 4 laps at most, and even engine tamed for longevity during races. The power outputs varied between 850 to 1000 horsepower. (1987 to 1994). The following year, the natural aspiration got permitted with an engine displacement up to 3.5 liter, and since 1989 up to 12 cylinders. Forced induction was still allowed. In 1987, the boost was limited to 4 bar, and for the next year, FIA lowered it to just 2.5 bar, slowly ending the era of turbocharged Formula 1. Turbos were banned since 1989 for the next 15 years. However, you could see rivaling V10-powered McLarens and Ferraris or Lamborghinis V12s. Yamaha was also present during these seasons with their OX88 5-valve per cylinder V8 in the Zank Speed 891. (1995 to 2005). The up to 12 cylinder regulation was still valid until 2000 when FIA brought up a new one. The V10 is the only unit allowed to race with no more than 5 valves per cylinder. It was the era of the 650 to 1000 horsepower output, and Renault as the dominant engine supplier between 1991 to 1997. It was also the time when engine speeds exceeded 17,000 rpm and eventually climbed over the unprecedented 19,000 rpm border. BMW was able to achieve that with the P82 and improving a little more with the P83, weighing less than 91 kilograms. At the same time, FIA put emphasis on reliability, limiting each car to have one engine only during a race weekend. After the V10 era, FIA announced that the engine will be of a maximum displacement of 2.4 liter using a 90-degree V8 layout. Bore width was set to be 98mm at most, resulting in a stroke length of 39.8mm. No more than 4 valves per cylinder were allowed, no variable intake, exhaust or valve timing, only one spark plug and one injector per cylinder, with the least possible weight of 95 kg per engine. In 2007, the rev limiter was set at 19,000 rpm. Later in 2009, it was lowered to 18,000 rpm and allowing a 5.75% of alcohol in the fuel since 2008. For the 2009 to 2013 seasons, the kinematic energy recovery system was introduced in the regulations too. (2014 to present). New engines for the 2014 season onwards got and still get a lot of criticism, especially for the sound. While those old V8s, V10s and even V12s were beautiful singing, this new V6 is not such a pleasure to hear. Regardless, the turbo got back as well, and energy recovery systems are now a necessity. Those are allowed to provide a maximum power of 163 horsepower and 2 megajoules per lap. The displacement was lowered to 1.6 liter, and so did the rev limiter to just 15,000 rpm. It is said that with the new reliability and fuel flow restrictions, they rarely turn faster than 12,000 though. Anyway, Mercedes was able to exceed the 50% thermal efficiency in Formula 1, which is a huge step up compared to the old V8s with 29%. As you can see, the newer the models, the more restrictions in engine design there are. At the beginning there were only basic regulations like engine volume and aspiration, and today each engine is basically the same, chasing thermal efficiency only to get more horsepower than the other one. I'm curious what the future is going to bring, but for now I am more fan of those older turbo power plants. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Cheers!
Up in paradise, I suppose. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love, life could be a dream, sweetheart. Hello, hello.